One day, a father wanted to teach his only son how to face problems and challenges in life. He took him to the kitchen and filled 3 pots with water, then lit a fire underneath them. As the water started to boil, the father brought a carrot, an egg, and a quantity of coffee. He placed the carrot in the first pot, the egg in the second, and the coffee in the third. The father remained silent, waiting for these 3 items to cook, while the son grew impatient, not knowing what his father wanted. The father looked at his son and asked, "My dear, what do you see?" The son answered, "A carrot, an egg, and coffee." The father smiled and asked him to touch the carrot. The son noticed that it had become soft and pliable. Then he asked him to peel the egg. The son observed that the egg had become hard. Finally, he asked him to sip some coffee. The son took a sip. The young man ran out of patience and asked his father, "What does this mean, father?" The father, with a serious expression on his face, replied, "Know, my son, that each of the carrot, egg, and coffee faced the same challenge, which is boiling water, but each of them reacted differently. The carrot started off strong and firm, but it soon became weak and soft after being exposed to the boiling water. The egg had a protective outer shell, but its inside became hardened when exposed to the boiling water. As for the ground coffee, it had a unique reaction, as it was able to change the water itself." The father's lesson was clear. He wanted his son to understand that when faced with challenges, we have a choice in how we respond. We can either become weak and lose our strength like the carrot, become hardened and closed off like the egg, or we can be like the ground coffee, which transforms the situation itself. The story teaches us the importance of resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. It reminds us that we have the power to change our circumstances and make a positive impact, just like the ground coffee that changes the water. Are you the carrot that appears tough, but when faced with challenges and difficulties, it becomes soft and loses its strength? Or are you the egg with a soft heart, but when faced with pressure and problems, it becomes hardened and strong? Or are you like ground coffee, which changes hot water, pressures, and challenges to make it taste better? The egg may seem like a perfect example of dealing with difficulties to some, but with a little reflection, the opposite thinking becomes clear. The egg, with increased pressures, cannot sustain its resilience, and its shell will eventually break, and its strong heart will collapse under the weight of these pressures. This is only because it deals with difficulties reactively and does not attempt to think outside the usual framework. It changes with those difficulties instead of taking a positive stance and turning them into a source of happiness. It settles for being a strong wall that receives blows with hardness and strength, but that hardness eventually ends, even if after a while. Whereas, if you are like ground coffee, you make things around you better always and then interact with them positively. The more pressures increase, the more it increases your determination and resolve to overcome them and turn them into something beneficial for you. We need to think about how we deal with life's matters, and whether we are carrots, eggs, or ground coffee. Through this thinking, we will learn to what extent we are positive,